Dun 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 dun. That's your theme music. Dun 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 dun. We return you to the irregularly scheduled broadcast of A Busy Businessman, which is now in progress.
John is a busy businessman and he is meeting Tom, a client. John says, "Good morning, Tom." John is startled when his phone starts ringing. John says, "My apologies. Hope it's all right if I answer my phone." Tom is obviously not happy that the meeting has just started and John's phone has already started ringing. As you all can imagine, John is not creating a good impression on him. What do you think Tom says? Naturally, he says, "Sure, go ahead." At the other end of the phone, it's Amy who asks, "Hello, is that John?" Amy says, "It's Amy here. I'm wondering if you have rescheduled our meeting." John says, "Good morning, Amy. Sorry, but I'm in a meeting now. Can we meet in 20 minutes, please?" Amy says, "I'm afraid not. You'll have to reschedule the meeting. May have been possible if only you had phoned me earlier. We have been waiting over an hour for you." John says, "Oh, so sorry." Now, you might have noticed that John was annoyed that his phone rang during a meeting and that annoyance came through in his response. But it's actually John who is at fault here. John says, "I forgot to check my diary." Now, what opinion will Tom have? Tom thinks that John is unable to keep to his appointments and has bungled up appointments. What impression does this leave on Amy? Amy thinks, "What a waste of our time." Amy is wondering if John handles all customers in the same way. John says, "Sorry, Tom. Apparently, I'm starting another hectic day." Tom says, "John, can we quickly go through the document you promised delivery today? This meeting is already running late, as you know." John says, "I printed it yesterday but seem to have misplaced it." Tom says, "We need input from our engineering and marketing departments for the document. It would be difficult if only have a printed copy. Moreover, we expected it yesterday." John says, "I'm terribly sorry. I wanted to go over it with you before I emailed it to you. Can I send it as an attachment to an email, please?" Tom is thinking, "So, what are we doing here then? Because John isn't delivering the document, he's also late for the meeting. So, what is the point of the meeting?" However, he says, "All right, John, for now, I'll let you email it by afternoon. But remember, it's already late." John says, "Thank you. I'll do it as soon as I reach my office. Have a good day, Tom." Tom is doing a bit of loud thinking here. Tom says, turns up late for the meeting, but then has completely forgotten another meeting, hasn't yet delivered what was expected yesterday, not at all reliable. Having apologized twice within a short period of time, John comes out of the meeting in a bad shape. John is thinking, not even mid-morning and already a terrible day. At this moment, John's phone rings again, and it is his wife Sarah this time. John says, "Oh, Sarah darling." Sarah asks, "John, have you forgotten it's our daughter's birthday today?" John says, "No, I haven't. Did I order the cake? I think I did." Sarah says, "John, You always forget the most important things in the world. Are you sure you ordered the cake? I'll kill you if you didn't. Anyway, did you deliver the document to Tom? It was on your table last night and I put it in your briefcase, thinking you would forget it otherwise. John says, "Oh no, I searched all over my table this morning but couldn't find it." Sarah says, "So you didn't deliver it, though it was in your briefcase?" John says, "I didn't expect it to be in my briefcase because I didn't put it there myself." Sarah says, "Honey, sometimes you are so silly. I think I'll better check with bakers about the cake." John says, "What a terrible day." Sarah says, "Don't take it too hard on yourself, John. Take care. See you later. Love you. Bye." Let us consider what we just saw. John uses all modern devices which are supposed to solve a specific problem. Mobile phone to make calls, email to send messages. He may have other devices such as iPad and so on, but the devices work in isolation. Each device works independent of the other, which means he is the only common element. Everything depends on him. The result of this is solution for one problem becomes a new problem on its own. He therefore suffers from what I call diarrhea. For example, his phone rings when he does not want it to ring. He gets busy in discussion but forgets to check his old-fashioned pen on paper diary. This is a common solution where most of us have a phone which has computing power far more superior to what was used to put a man on the moon, and yet many of us fail to use it effectively.
All right, like I can only handle so much of this. This drives me nuts. What this is an example of, more than anything else, is a guy that is disorganized and irresponsible. But part of the problem is that he doesn't know how to control his business. He doesn't know how to control his life. And if he would integrate his pieces together, he could be much more effective and would keep everything at his fingertips so that he could be effective and useful for all parties involved. So one of the things that we're going to do is clear up the usefulness of Google Docs. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. This is Roland from R&D Hotline and Init Mobile, and I'm joined by a couple of my friends and cohorts. They both happen to be Google rising stars, starting with Molly Youngblood Geiger, my Google lady. Say hi, Molly.
Hi everyone, my name is Molly Youngblood Geiger. I am located in Jacksonville, Florida, and I am a rising star in the Google Hangouts Help Forum. Also a Google Partners Community Ambassador and a Google Small Business Community Advisor.
Good deal. And thank you very much, Molly. And also we have with us today Vivekananda Baindoor Rao. And please turn your mic on and say hi, Vivek, and then I'll explain what this day is all about.
Namaste.
That's it? Okay, well, that's good. That's good day to everybody, and welcome. And thank you very much for joining us if you are. And we have some interesting things to bring up today because we feel that Google has done us a big favor by creating the very many documents that are literally, for the most part, free to use and integrate into what we're doing for business purposes. So we're going to give you a demonstration of a few things today and list the things so that you're aware of them. And the little slideshow that you got to see earlier is exactly an example of one of the most useful tools that Google has done. Sorry, I've got the hiccups. One of the most useful tools in Google Slides, as Google Slides replaces the need to do any PowerPoint presentations. And when I say replaces it, is like, well, when would you use a PowerPoint? You would use a PowerPoint when you're doing some presentation to a group of people, either digitally online or in person on a big screen of some kind. And you would go through the slides and you would show the slides as you're talking. And what we've found is in Google Hangouts, which allows us to communicate with people of any geolocation whatsoever at any given time, we can do these Hangouts live and include people, as we are doing right now, from all over the world. And so when you do that, you can show a slide on a Google Hangout full screen, make it very visible and very conducive to the purposes of your presentation, and it's displayed by everybody. And you can share these things, you can use them, you can go forward, you can go backwards, and you can take the time that you want, and it's all on your own timeline because you're in control of the slides. So that's part of the facility of what slides do with Google Slides. But slides is not nearly the only thing involved. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that you can use that are presented to us by Google through Google Apps, and only one of them is slides. So Molly, if you were to take the one thing that you think is most handy that Google came up with, what would you say that that would be? Or is there a way of isolating it to one thing?
That's a really hard question to answer. There's so many different tools that Google offers for free that would help a business owner. I know for myself personally, especially this year, I am finding that I work more and more from my smartphone than I do my laptop. In fact, really the only time I access my laptop anymore is if I'm actually designing a website, and that's only because the software is on my laptop. So with that being said, there are a lot of apps that I use on my smartphone, specifically Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Sheets, Hangouts. These are all things I'm using every day to collaborate with people. Something else I would quickly mention that's out there is Google Apps for Work. This is an entire suite of tools that Google has put together for business owners.
And it's
Gmail.
The suite is like $5 a month, I think, on the base level, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very nominal fee when you think about it. I actually buy storage from Google just because I literally have saved everything, including backing up my computer, to where if, God forbid, my computer crashes, I can actually access my data in the cloud and just download it back onto my computer. So, and that's something I think a lot of business owners tends to kind of follow the wayside, is backing up their data. It is super important to back up your data, because I'll quickly share a story with you. It's kind of a sad story. Long time ago, when I wasn't even doing website design, I was doing something. I was in finance. I had all my information, database, software, everything on my local drive, and a storm blew up one day. And this storm, it was really odd. It wasn't raining. It was just really windy and really just kind of ominous outside. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, just bam, this light of striking hit the power pole that was exactly located direct in front of my house. And guess what was right there in the very front of the room was my office. And the very first outlet that got hit was the one that was attached to my computer, and I lost everything. And I literally sat and cried because I had years worth of work on that device. And so I just want to mention that it's important to back up your data, and the tools that you're referring to, the Google Doc Sheet, Drive, Google Apps for Work, Hangouts, Gmail, these are all things that we can use as a business owner on our smartphone. There are apps available to download to where you can use them. And you may wonder, well, why would I want to use this? Why don't I just want to stick with Microsoft or, just work from my laptop like I've been doing? And I think the example that Wake showed earlier of the businessman, in a situation, what if he had saved his document to Google Docs? Well, he literally could have picked up his smartphone, opened up the Google Doc app, accessed the information, he could have taken that link and literally from his phone emailed it to his client right there in his office. So that situation where it was kind of a lose-lose, his client lost out who he was at the meeting with, and then his other client who called during the meeting, they lost out because the information that they were looking for, if he had been using his smartphone and using Google Docs and Drive and Sheets, and he could have actually just taken and solved his problems right there from his fingertips.
So this is really good stuff. And this was your presentation. In the summary, what are the things that you would say regarding what Molly has presented regarding the Google apps also? Do you have anything to add to what she said?
Yeah, what I can say is, let me, for example, let me answer the question why Google Apps for Business makes sense for a lot of people. Let me share a couple of use cases, but let me start with one and let's see how it goes. I hope you all can see the screen here. Email ID creates an image. And my question is yours right? Here's Mr. Jonathan, who is unable to relate this Joe 589 to any Joe he might have come across recently. And since Gmail as such is a free service available to everyone free of cost, Jonathan thinks that this Joe can't be part of a company or a business, and he ignores this email. Imagine an email from joe.warner@warnerbrothers.com. Noticing the brand Warner Brothers, Jonathan would have read it. So Google Apps for Work allows you to do that, allows you to use your own brand, such as warnerbrothers.com, while you continue to use Gmail, all the facilities provided by Google, including Gmail. You want me to proceed with other?
Sorry, yeah, do one more. I'm making notes as I go.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't tell that you were over. I'm sorry. I'm doing my own notes at the side, on the side here. Go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to bring up a few things.
Yeah. Okay. This is Miss Sabina, and she is rather annoyed, as you can hopefully see from the picture. Whenever she received an email, she has been sorting and filling into computer folders maintained by Outlook. Robert is on phone with Sabina's boss. Robert is annoyed because he is unable to track sales targets agreed at the Brussels meeting 3 months ago. Sabina is panicking. She can't remember where she had filed the email. In Targets folder, or Brussels folder, or Merlin folder, launched after meeting in Brussels. So she is wondering where this email is. Sabina wishes that she could just Google the terms through her email folders, because the server they are using is overloaded with intense activity and response is slow. Gmail uses labels rather than folders. Multiple labels can be applied to one single email without any duplication of emails. With the folder concept, one would be forced to make multiple copies of the same email to achieve the same result. So let me do a quick screen share so that you can see this screen more clearly. With Gmail, you have conversation view as shown by the red arrow and labels as shown by the blue arrow. Sabina, in my previous story, can apply 3 labels to Robert's email: sales, sales target, Brussels, Merlin. She can then search for emails using Google's search engine, which would have saved a lot of annoyances for Robert. With Gmail, we can use a better method to text chat with those in our contact list using Google Hangouts. Robert could send instant message to Sabina or even had a video chat with Sabina directly. As you can see on this screenshot, I myself have been having several text chats with Roland, David F. Leopold, Lowell Ann, and a big group of Googlers and Google Rising Star top contributors and so on. So I wonder whether you can actually see that there in that image.
Anyone who's using Gmail on a regular basis will probably recognize that this is a facility that's built into their Gmail program, and it shows up on the left-hand side bottom of their file list. And so that's one thing to remember, is that it's always there and integrated. And one of the things that we want to emphasize is the integration of Gmail, Google Docs, Google Plus, all the facilities and the chat sequence, the chat ability. So wherever platform that you're in, if you're in Google Drive, you have a chat opportunity. If you're in Gmail, you have a chat opportunity. If you're in Google Plus, you have a chat opportunity. And technically, it's the same chat opportunity. And you start different conversations, and they're sequential like that. You can isolate the conversations, but you can also add people to the conversation. And indeed, you can have conversations go on for weeks at a time if you wanted to. So that's one of the things that is so powerful in this, is that if you're working on these platforms together and you're doing your business there, you can keep really close connection with people, even though you're in the different state, different country, different continent, and so forth like that. So Molly, you had something to add to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to the functionality of Gmail and Hangouts. You actually, a lot of it amazes me, a lot of people don't know this, but you actually can make phone calls from Gmail. There's a feature within your Hangouts app that if you're located in the United States and you want to make a call, say within the United States or to Canada, it is 100% free. It literally is as simple as clicking the little telephone icon and typing the calling area code and the phone number. And as a business owner, and I know this has happened to me before, maybe your device, it runs out of the battery and you're having to recharge. And Vivek makes a good point that you can call internationally. There is a calling fee schedule for international Hangout calls, but it has the capability of doing that. So you may be an international business owner and you may need to call a variety of different countries. You can do that. But I think as a business owner, it's about functionality, and that's what I really like about using Google Apps for Work, is they all integrate with one another. They all work with one another. And I know for myself, for a long time, I was a big Microsoft Word and Word fan. That's all I used. But as I started learning about Google Docs and Sheets, I started seeing value. I was like, wait, I can go onto this platform, create a document. I can share the document with a link. You literally can just go click a link, share the document, and what's even better is if you're working, say, with a team of people within your company, you can collaborate with those people, meaning you can give them permission to go in and edit the document. So instead of having to email attachments here and there and everywhere, you literally just have one spot where everybody within your organization can go and edit the document to create the final copy.
Yeah, for me, that's something that we really, even if we could draw the picture of what we're talking about here, literally, when we open up like for instance, a Word doc, we could compose something and then share it with me, and then we could both be on the same document, looking at the document, and then the chat box pops up at the bottom as an option, and we can actually talk to each other without engaging in a live video or a live telephone style conversation, and be chatting back and forth about the document. And if he enables me to do it, I can actually make adjustments and changes to the document itself live. So if he makes changes or I make changes, they're both visible in both computers. And that, to me, that's amazing. Like the collaboration opportunity is very vast, and you can change things live right then and there. And I don't know of another platform that you can do that. I'm sure there are, but usually it's something that you got to pay for.
What's interesting is, I mean, even if you're using Chrome, which is a web browser that Google offers, even within that particular tool, there is the apps setting where you just click the button.
Whoops, we lost Molly. Okay, well, while Molly's coming back, I'm going to bring up that Susan Joyce Schlief is out in the audience watching, and I appreciate you being here. And she's made so many comments that we're going to actually catch up on her comments. And one thing she says is that slides are a tiny fraction of what I use PowerPoint for. They don't call me the PowerPoint queen for nothing. That's good to know, Susan. And what I would like to know is, now that you've been familiar maybe with Google Slides, is there anything that PowerPoint offers that Google Slides is lacking, or does Google Slides effectively replace PowerPoint or not? So maybe the motif might be a little bit different or more elegant in PowerPoint, but as far as doing the job, are they similar? And I'll let you take it off again in a moment, Molly, and catch up on where we were. But I was just catching up on Susan's comments. She says, I've always been frustrated by not being able to easily move emails into folders and having to use labels instead. Based on Weewick's explanation, now I see that there are some advantages to labels. Oh, I agree, and labels make everything much more searchable, and it's good to have the search feature that's designed by the most magnificent search engine company around, giving us the facility of how we sort our emails, and that makes the most sense. But one of the things that she asked Molly, this is directed to you and WeWake, does it call from your Google Voice phone number? When you make a call from your chat, from your Google facility, is it only towards Google phone numbers, or is it any phone number? I believe it's to any phone number.
Any phone number, toll-free number, regular phone number in the United States or Canada.
And the thing is, do you have to have any special number of your own, or do you have to have a Google Voice number, or can you just call right from the Hangout and it connects just like it was a phone?
You can just call from the Hangout just like it's a phone. One thing I would also add is you can use this on your mobile phone. There is an app called the Hangouts Dialer app that you can download for free at Google Play, and if you have a Wi-Fi connection, you can almost eliminate using any data from your regular phone plan. And you just need to make sure that you have that Wi-Fi connection available, but it literally acts just like a phone. You open up the app, a dial board opens up, you type in a number, you click the call button, and it calls. So as long as you have that Wi-Fi connection or you have your mobile data turned on, you're pretty much good to go.
Okay, so the one additional thing is, how about the U.S. and Canada?
They all integrate together. So if you're located in the United States or in Canada, you can call within the United States or Canada, and it's 100% free. Now, if you call outside of Canada, United States, then the calling fee schedule would apply.
Okay. Also, WeWake, is this the same thing in Europe as what we're describing in North America?
No, it's different due to I think simply because it is a different country.
Sure, sure.
But we do have a very similar thing. We don't have. I think Google Voice is available only in the United States and maybe in Canada. I'm not aware of whether it's available in Canada or not, but it is not available here in UK. But what is available here is Google Talk, and actually on my phone, from my phone, I can make an international call using credits. It's not free, but it was tied to Google Wallet, and from that you have a balance which you can use, but it is much cheaper than making the regular phone call.
Okay, so I would surmise then that Google has come up with solutions, even if it's across the Atlantic Ocean communication with Europe from US or vice versa, that it's actually equitable and cheaper than normal long distance and making the connections through normal facilities. So
Mhm.
basically, Google has enabled us to do better communications and more reliable communications for cheaper cost.
Yeah, can I say something about? I mean, this is about attitude of people rather than to do with Google as such.
Okay.
Uh, when you use Google products, one of the things one need to be aware of is it's constantly changing, and you cannot take the attitude of this is not working for me, who is to blame. The moment you take that attitude, you kind of you cannot really work with the Google products. Google products are, I mean, you have to take responsibility for what happens, and you do it rather than this goes in sharp contrast to what Microsoft gives you. Microsoft gives you a product which is enterprise level, controlled by a huge systems administrator who would handle all your technology problems. So if you come with the same attitude that you want to hold somebody responsible when things are not working, then it's difficult for you to use Google products. But then you can still use Google apps for business. You are paying Google certain amount, and you can call up somebody at Google support center and demand your problems be sorted out. So
So this is all good stuff. And the main thing that I know is like we always get back around to attitude and the reason why and our intention. And so that never escapes me when I talk about anything internet marketing. And it always seems to be something missing from a lot of the pitching going on, and a lot of the styles of many marketers and advertisers, which this show is bent to be different from. But anyway, Molly, you had something to add to what Wee was saying? She's got a frozen screen going on. You're frozen, and from what I last said there, she's still frozen. So we may or may not ever get the rest of what Molly said. Okay, she dropped out. That's okay. Some of the points that we're making in this production today. just to recap the first half an hour. And then I actually would like to show a survey to the people and see what they think of that. And we'll show you that in a minute. It was made by Google Forms in their documents section, and we'll do that in a sec. But first of all, Molly had something to add to what Weewick was saying just before she dropped off. She might have frozen again. Oh, there it goes.
Okay, sorry. I'm having technical issues today. But yeah, I was going to comment about Google products constantly changing and they're improving and integrating with one another. And one thing I quickly mentioned that Google announced just a couple of days ago is they have a new application called Gboard. And Gboard is a really interesting concept because it works within YouTube, it works within your Gmail, it works actually as an app for the iPhone. Now, it's not available for Android as of yet, but I'm sure it will be rolled out very soon. But its application is like this. So say, for example, you're texting somebody and you're going to schedule a meeting and you're going to meet at Susie Q's restaurant, and the guy or the person goes, where's Susie Q's? And you're not exactly sure the address. So instead of having to stop what you're doing and exit the text message and go to Google search and search where's Susie Q's restaurant, there's actually a little button within the text message. So what it does is it kind of, I wouldn't say it automates, but it gives you the ability to search without having to actually go to Google search. So I think as a business owner, this is a big improvement because not only is it going to improve the productivity, because that's going to save you time because you're not having to exit the text chat or Hangout chat. In fact, I'd be interested if they're going to integrate that with Hangouts. But it's more automation. It's another tool, free I might add, that Google's offering to business owners to help them automate the business. So it's going to save those microseconds that you spend doing the extra tasks of looking for a document or uploading a document or sending a document or doing a search or all these little things. Because I know for me as a business owner, my time is extremely valuable. And so when I have to take that extra time to research something, look for something, send a link, look for a document, that takes away from my productivity. And I think that is the main takeaway for me on why I like using these tools that Google offers, is it helps improve my productivity.
Thank you for that. And I agree totally. I'm so weird. I'm trying to copy something out of my chat stream from Susan, and I can't do it. But she has apparently a challenge for Weewick, and I'm going to read this here, and then you can follow up, Weewick, by checking the comment stream. For anyone else here who uses Google Slides, I'm going to be teaching a paid series of PowerPoint trainings in June. If you want to watch that training for free and then document for me how those things could be done in Google Slides, please send me a message. So I'll be more than happy to sit in on the observation side of that myself, Susan. And if I could be allowed to do that, I'd love it. Weewick is nodding his head, and so you got a couple of people who will be glad to observe that, and then we'll compare it to Google Slides and see what we can do. I certainly don't use the advanced features of PowerPoint, and I probably don't want to get that good at it to worry about that. But anyway, from what I've experienced, Google Slides is equitably the same as as Microsoft PowerPoint. So as far as I know, they're very similar and probably have some of the same features. And of course, Google designed it to be a replacement for PowerPoint. So if we have any more comments on that, fine. And if we have anything, Molly, you had something to add to that?
Yeah, I think that is a key point that you hit, is a lot of business owners go, oh, I'm already using PowerPoint, or I'm already using Word, or I'm already using Excel, I have all my documents are already in this format. Here's a tip. You can actually import those documents into docs, sheets, and slides. So that's a big plus for you to just give it a shot. Take a document or a sheet or an Excel spreadsheet or a PowerPoint that you've already created and import it into sheets, docs, or slides and just give it a try.
Okay, so I have a question for you folks in the green room. My experience is mostly from Word docs to WordPress. which is a total disaster, of course, because it completely strips out the formatting or it imports the formatting and you have to deal with that. So I know that they are not completely compatible. So how compatible is the Google apps versus the Microsoft apps? In other words, if I import a Word doc into the Word program in the Google apps, how accurate is it?
It's pretty accurate to the point that it is going to remember the formatting. I've copy and pasted, just right off the internet information.
Oops, so we have another freeze going on. Yeah, but it's good information, so we're going to wait for that. And hopefully Molly will be back momentarily and be able to finish. Hi, Molly.
Hey, sorry.
It's okay, I'm getting good at picking up the pieces.
I was just saying that I've had success with keeping the formatting in place when importing information.
Okay, good. So one of the things before the hour gets away, I wanted to show the people what I did to, and this is the legitimate survey that I did. So I'm actually going to share my screen momentarily here. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And this is a picture of an aspect of my own Google Drive. And when you go to the your Google Drive section, it doesn't automatically take you here, but it gives you My Drive as one of the initial options. So if you click on My Drive, it takes you here. And once you're here, if you want to make a new form, this is what you have to do. And it's not the easiest thing to find. But you go to the New. Then you slide down to the bottom. And here you have options of a new folder, a new file upload, and blah, blah, blah. And so, but what you want to do is, of course, you have Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides, which are the main features of the Google apps. But if you slide down to More, all of a sudden you get this swing out that goes Google Forms. Now, personally, I haven't done anything with Google Drawings or Google Maps, but Google Forms I have used. So when you click on Google Forms, then it takes you to this page where you can start to fill out a form. Now, rather than do that live, I'm going to show you what I did. I filled out and made this form. So basically, this is a form that then can be filled out. The good thing about this form is that it collates the results of what you're asking. It basically remembers every single answer to every single question that is responded to by people who are filling out the form. So one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the URL to this form, and I'm going to send it. I'm going to put it in the comment stream of the event and ask people to take this survey. So when I plant this in there, if the people watching would actually click on the link and take the survey is 5 questions, and basically is which grocery store do you trust the most? And I know that the chains are different depending upon the region that you're in. So there may not be a Ralph's grocery store or a Vons back east, I don't know, but they have their own chains that are oftentimes linked and corresponding to chains on the East Coast versus the West Coast. But anyway, I would like to know what your favorite stores are, the least favorite stores, what you would like to see change, and for every dollar that you spend in your area, how much is taken away in tax, and then all in all, what is your dollar worth? So there's 5 questions on the survey, but I made that in Google Forms. It was easy to do, very fast. Then they give you a URL to link to, and then you can literally take this form and embed it in presentations and do stuff like that. So if you want to make a form for something, including some different types of integrations for your website, you can do this. You can make the form in Google and you can collect statistics about the form. So collecting information, that's great, but collating the information and making it manageable and to organize the data, collect the data, and store the data, It's all done. It's all done in Google Apps.
I just quickly wanted to share, I showed a link on the event page where if you're using Microsoft Documents, how you can convert those within Google Drive. And also, I'd like to comment about your usage of forms. That is a very valuable way to collect information from your customers. Even if you've performed a service for them, maybe you've held an event, or maybe you're thinking about a new initiative. Think about it, folks. This is how Google collects information. They send out surveys. They send out forms. Why do you think they do that? Because they want feedback. Why do they want feedback? Because that tells them what to do in terms of their products and services. So I think it's pretty safe to say if Google is using this as a strategy for their business, probably a good idea to use it for yours. In fact, I recently hosted a Google Partners Connect event, and that's exactly what I did right after the event. I sent out a thank you email. I had a little form. What did you think about the event? What do you think could be improved? What did you like about it? And this gives me feedback. So whenever I host the next Google Partners Connect event, I can make those changes accordingly. But before the hour gets away, I quickly want to share these last two tools that more often get looked over, and they are HelloFax and HelloSign. These are two add-ons that come with Google Drive that if you fax or you need to sign documents, which I can't imagine a business that doesn't fax or sign documents, you can do it in the cloud, meaning you can, within HelloSign, you can create a digital signature, and then when you're required to sign something, instead of having to print it out, get it, sign it, and scan it, and upload it, and all this stuff, you literally can take the document, download it from your email, up into the HelloSign, go in, sign it, turn right around, pull it into HelloFax, and then fax it. And it's free. And what I really like about HelloFax is the fact that it digitally timestamps the document. So there is a stamp showing that the document is sent. So if you haven't heard of those, I stumbled upon them a couple years ago when I was, I forget what I was working on, but I had to sign and fax a bunch of documents, and they've been super helpful.
You know, I want to bring this up. I want to show people. I'm actually going to take you both back onto the share screen and show a couple things, and I'll do that in a moment. But before I go on, Susan was asking, do I mean sales tax or income tax? And of course, I am referring to sales tax. And Eric Labris is asking a question, and I want to first of all welcome Eric to the Hangout, and thank you for asking the question. And he says, can you have the answers emailed to you? In other words, the survey questions. What is the easiest way to analyze the survey results? And we'll cover that in a second, but hold on to that while I share my screen and show back on my drive again. And if you go to New, back down to More, and then back to go past the forms and drawings and maps, connect to more apps. You go here, and then you go into the top search bar here, and you say, oops, say HelloFax. So if you search that, you get HelloFax right there. And so that's the app that you're talking about, right? Okay, so that's you have a
Yes.
record of, so that's how you have a record of how to get to HelloFax. And what is the other?
HelloSign is the one right underneath it. HelloFax and HelloSign.
Okay, so there.
Yeah.
So if you search for hello, you're probably gonna get them both. But there you have how to get those two. But
I
one
really
of the points,
love those tools. They have saved me so much time. I don't know if you guys remember back in the 90s, the big clunky fax machine.
oh my God.
Man, those fax machines used to go round and round. I mean, I remember standing there for hours sending out faxes, and it wouldn't take, and it'd get jammed, and oh God, I have a lot of horror stories. But that's one thing I love about HelloFax is it's just so easy to use.
So yeah, I love that about faxes. The one thing that I wanted to make so obvious is you've got dozens, hundreds of different applications designed to add to your Google collection. And so if you want to go through these things, I cannot spend the time during the show today to go through them. But there are different variations and add-ons and things to affect Google Docs. PDF stuff and all kinds of image stuff and all kinds of form stuff and different cloud features. I mean, you just got to go to this section and take a look for yourself. And that's something that's embedded here. I'll do it one more time. You go to the new button on your drive. Once you're on your drive, you also have the options of things that have been shared with you and your Google Photos and recent things, and etc. But when you go to the Google Drive, you go to the top. As long as Google Drive is outlined red, you go to the new button and go to the drop down to the more. Then you go to drop down to more than that, connect more apps, and you've got this list of app opportunities which is searchable. So go there and find out what's available that we don't have the time to talk about today. And so now that I'm way off the track, was there something that we asked you to follow up on before I went on that little side trip?
Yeah, Eric had asked the Google form results, where can you go to access them? And I just quickly mentioned that you can view responses 4 different ways. You can view it as a summary. You can view the data as individual responses. You can also view it as a spreadsheet, which you can upload to Google Sheets. And you can also download it as a CSV file. But essentially, you go just back to Google Forms where you created the form, and you're able to collect that information. And I think as a user who's using Google Forms, that's probably the most important thing, is the data that you get from this form. So absolutely, yes, you want to make sure and view your responses to your surveys and your forms that you send out.
So it sounds like we can't quite make it done for you and distributed to your email. But if you're using Google Docs, which us here are using it, it sounds like it's a very easy thing to access and make it so user-friendly that it becomes a good facility to implement the data that you need to make it effective for your business. So I hope that answers the question. At least we connect the dots that are there. If we can't draw the whole picture back to what your question was asking, at least we can connect the dots to what is existing. And
Roland?
Yeah.
Actually, answer to his question, I think he is asking whether it can email what the user filled in.
Right.
Answer is yes. In fact, I am using the form as a contact form on my website. When someone fills the form, whoever has filled the form gets a response, email response, thanking them for filling the form, and I get a response, I get an email with all the details that they filled. So it also gets recorded in the spreadsheet.
Okay, so the extended question for you is the facility that you're describing to me right now effectively a funnel designer for your website if you want it to be, whether you can design stages of reciprocal interaction and autoresponders to the filling out of forms. It could all be designed. Once we understand how to do it, you can get it to do all those things that an autoresponder does.
It does need a bit of coding, but I have done it. Yes, not complicated. It can be done.
And really, if you think about it, if you're a developer and you're developing just say a regular contact form, that takes all the Perl scripts and all that other coding that you have to do and really reduces the amount of time, because I'm familiar about dropping a form on a web page is pretty simple. It takes like a few minutes versus having to go in and create the Perl script and having to create the contact form and then having to take the code and then you have to test it, and there's a lot that goes to.
You're exhausting me just listening to you. I got into CGI scripting years ago, and after a couple of years, I just said, I am out of here. I am so done programming. So C++, CGI scripting, Perl, all that stuff, I just said, no, it's not for me. I am a person-to-person, human-to-human marketer, and I want to focus on those principles. And I'll let everyone else connect those back-end dots for me. And I think that a lot of people in the marketing world, when I say marketing world, they have a business and they want to sell more of what they're selling. They don't want to learn all this back end stuff. So what Google is doing is making the work itself simpler and connected and integrated so that we don't have to worry about how do I do this and how do I make it work with that and how do we get these things compatible and no, these things can't work together. Well, what'll work together and how do I make it work for my business? And that's the most important thing. And it dawned on me before this show that we need to expose this concept because if people take a look at what's free from Google, they can actually design things like the autoresponders and all the communication devices and better contact with your clients on an ongoing basis because of the Google connectivity and the chat and the things that are automatically built into Google and Gmail. It's like so obvious to me. I wouldn't conduct business anywhere else, and that's all I need. Personally, I don't need constant contact, and I don't need different facilities and things because I'm in direct contact with my clients through Gmail and Google+. I mean, for me, that's the glue. That's the interconnectivity for my entire business, and I don't need to connect with people beyond that because that's the best relationship that I can devise is doing the things that Google is allowing me to do. And the other things are just phishing. That's just scraping names, sending them emails, and doing all that stuff that is the old school outbound marketing, which is something I don't believe in. So anyway, I'm glad to know that Google is of a spirit of sharing. I'm glad that Google gives us these free tools. Lord knows they make plenty of money elsewhere in AdWords and advertising and doing that stuff. They've actually given back a lot of things. And wow, I can't believe that people don't know more about it when it's free. Talk about it's free. You know, get something that's free. It's like people are constantly attaching bonuses to what they're giving away on their website to try to attract people to do stuff. If they just go to Google and take a good look, they'll realize that most of their problems are solvable by themselves, and maybe with a little bit of instruction and guidance and that. But it's all there. It's all available to us, which is one of the messages that I made since 2013. That all the answers on the internet are already there, and you can be creative and devise some things and come up with something unusual and special and more attractive, make your shiny object a little bit more shiny than the other guys, but the answers are there. And for the most people doing most of their work, that's all you need. So I know that we're getting really close to the wrap up here. I appreciate the people who have commented in the comment stream. I really value your input, and I'm glad we were able to answer a couple questions. But before we wrap up, is there anything lastly that we could add to our comments from Google Docs?
I'm going to just kind of go off the path here because although all these apps are really great, and I definitely would say take the time to research them because they are going to help you through your business, but I think we have to look at Google as a whole. And when we look at Google as a whole, I turn to their annual company letter. In fact, they recently, the CEO of Google published a letter, I believe it was about 2 weeks ago. And one of the things that I took from it was a clause, and I'm just going to read the clause direct from the letter. It says, when Larry and Sergey founded Google in 1998, there were about 300 million people online. By and large, they were sitting in a chair, logging onto a desktop machine, typing searches onto a big keyboard connected to a big, bulky monitor. Today, that number is about 3 billion people. Many of them are searching for information on tiny devices to carry with them wherever they go. In many ways, the founding mission of Google back in 1998 was to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. It's even truer and more important to tackle today in a world where people look to their devices to help organize their daily lives and get them from one place to another and keep in touch. The mobile phone really has become the remote control for our lives, and we're communicating, consuming, educating, entertaining ourselves, and working from our device unimaginable just a few years ago. So I think when you look at that statement and you look at some of the platforms they come up with, like AMP, which stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages, Google Apps for Work, Gmail, Hangouts. I mean, there's just so many different tools out there. They're working on new tools. The Gboard that they just came out with, they really, truly are trying to help people and business owners succeed. And I think that in and of itself, that wasn't even around, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. And when you look at how far we've come just in the last year, that is a big statement, because Google is moving towards helping people and business owners. And some of the platforms they're working on now for artificial intelligence and mobile, honestly, this time next year, I think we're going to see a whole brand new wave of the ways that these apps and mobile devices interact with one another.
That's really something to consider. And we're talking about the ever-changing internet and the ever-changing technological world. And all these things are going to merge. And Google is on the top edge because they're searching for all the answers. So if somebody comes up with the answer, it's going to be available on Google search. And so if you want to hang out in the environment of Google and Google search, you're going to be available to you will be all the answers. So
one quick statistic, just so people understand the importance of why Google does what it does. 86% of the searches done is done on Google. And I think that number right there stands for itself.
Yeah, thank you for that. Susan had a last question, and it was, what is an easy way to access Google Drive? I have to always go to Google Documents, and just to show you what's going on with that. And Molly and WeWake, you tell me if there's an easier way to do that. You can bookmark it for sure, and I recommend that you use that option and just have it bookmarked and have a shortcut link right on your desktop. But if I were to, and I do this on a daily basis, so I should probably do what I'm saying, I just search Google Drive, and when you do that,
there's actually a quicker way that you can access that, Ron. So before you go where you're going, if you look on your bar, right underneath where you've highlighted, way to the far left, you'll see a little square. It's got colors. You click on that. It says Apps. You click on it, and then poof, there you go.
Of course. And it takes us right to the drive.
Takes you right there.
But if you search Google, it takes you to the basic website application.
Oh, absolutely.
And you click on the big blue button. It's a blue My Drive. Go to Google Drive, and you click on that, and it takes you to the same place. So that's how I achieve going here. And then lo and behold, I've got everything that I've produced for years available to me here. And then you've got the new button that you have to remember, because that takes you to all the facilities that you can add to what you're doing. So I hope that answers your question, Susan. And there's a lot more to explore, but hopefully we are opening the door for your curiosities out there to find this stuff. By the way, we're saying hi to Michael Thomas for showing up. I appreciate you being there. One of the things is that Google Chrome and Google are having their issues and won't let me use Comment Tracker or my lower third for right now. So we're not able to do those things. And I can't even seem to get Firefox going so I could do this from there. So what the hell? No Comment Tracker, no lower third, but a lot of good information today. I want to thank Molly and WeWake for joining me today in this presentation and talking about Google Apps. And I think that's about it. We're over time. But Michael Thomas says, quality and persistence equals quality perseverance, or vice versa. And I agree, and I thank you very much for commenting. And people, thank you very much for joining us on Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties. Bye-bye.